Moving concentrically outwards, zones 2 and 3 are for main crops, orchards, lush food forests, and the animals, all placed according to how much human attention they require.
So we saw some birds in cages. That's until they get past the age of being susceptible to diseases, and then they run during the day and come in at night. So instead of going into the battery animals, permaculture keeps them off the ground where it's necessary to control disease, but then allows them back into the freedom of the ground, and it works beautifully in high numbers of chickens. For a farmer, that is magnificent, because farmers no longer have to be caught into debt to pay off the bill for the feed and the antibiotic that goes into the water supply to keep the chicken alive. So you can grow healthy chickens in quite great numbers by simply designing it better.
Animals are treated as cohabitants and co-workers of the site, turning waste into energy.
Here we've developed a system for non-commercial animal feed, and essentially that was turning organic waste from the fruit orchard, animal waste, all the things that normally went into compost into very viable animal feed that really took on an economic context when you consider that Latin American farmers are usually held in a state of economic stranglehold because of their inability to pay the high cost of soy-based animal feed.
In Brazil, pig production is disastrous. It's catastrophic. Okay, it's all in one region. The region is very small. It doesn't even have 500,000 people living there, and there's 8 million pigs. It's catastrophic what it does, because it's extremely polluting, because it goes into the river that drains into Argentina, and I'm surprised that we don't have an international conflict happening because of that. So the idea here is to do an integrated farming system that includes food forests and pigs. All the wastes are going to be recycled as fertilizer into the land, and the pigs actually grow their own food too, including sweet potato, bacon, radish, pumpkins, and things that are mostly pig food, but they have also a very good value as food for people in the market. This is 3 blocks, and the pigs use a certain block for a very short time, a few days only. They get this spot ready, they clean it up, they turn it, they fertilize it, and then it's ready to plant. Look at the difference between this soil here in between the grass and that soil that is already over there with one passing of the pigs. Hundreds of times better. Then when they gave birth and the babies are ready to run around, we take them out and leave them free. Okay, they live in the little huts there that moves with them. And also the water tank where they drink moves with them. Then when they get to a size where they're running around, they're free, without the mother comes back here, they stay free there, and when it comes 60 days before slaughter, then they get into a confined area where they're going to then be producing the shit that we need very much to generate gas. Because we're putting a biodigester there that will generate gas, which is going to be turning into electricity for the house, also as vegetable oil to turn generators, and also biogas.
Biogas is obviously the way to go.
Because all those bubbles are biogas, yeah?
Yeah, it's real because there's no heavy metals in any of this stuff. Yeah, it's bubbling away.
The idea is, this is just water for the system. We're going to irrigate with this water, okay? It passes through the biodigester, mixed up with the shit from the pigs, the after-generated gas, the leftover, the effluent from the biodigester. It's going to produce water plants and algae. The water plants we're going to use the water hyacinth, Acornia. Okay, it's a weed, as they say, but it's excellent pig food. So we get that, gives back to the pigs, and the algae can be injected into the next pond that's not built yet, but it's the next pond just like that, where we can then raise fish.
Permaculture people have been working in the field and they've got so much information and experience, and for 30 years they've been doing this.
This was a planted environment, so you can have an idea of how things grew here in the last 5 years, 6 years. The most important thing that happens in this place here is management of native bees. They're very important for all the pollination, and in Brazil something like around 80% of the pollination that happens in the forest is due to these native bees, and they are disappearing.
The major threat is the economic market forces that are pressuring all kinds of extractive activities. Soya production, which was originally animal feed based, but now of course, and export driven, but now of course is for the production of these new fuels. And of course there's timber extraction. But there's something far more dangerous than both of these, in my opinion. There is this issue of cows. And I believe that the greater part of the Amazon destruction is driven by the presence of cows, because farmers who cut down half a hectare or 1 hectare a year combined represent a greater biomass loss than soya and timber combined. And it's very difficult to measure. When you think of 2 million Amazonian farmers, what kind of strategy can you have that could be applied on such a large scale in so many small units? And so conservation strategies usually go towards the bigger picture. They have a natural reluctance to deal with the smaller picture and the human realities at the community level. Things such as putting food on the table. One of the greatest tragedies is taking place over the last generation or so. Farmers used to produce enough to feed themselves and to sell a little bit for the market, no longer are able to compete with imported products from the east coast of the country, which are of course subsidized, but we can't call them subsidies because it is disguised in some other economic terminology. And after a generation, it's simpler just to buy them than it is to produce them. And then of course, in order to get the cash to be able to buy all these cheap products, they have to cut down the actual rainforest. They have to destroy this very important resource in order to generate the cash.
Fragmented by roads, the Amazon is unraveling. The point of no return, where the forest cannot regenerate itself, is estimated to occur in under 10 years.
The solution really lies in people looking at the natural resources that they have and learning to manage this sustainably and getting their livelihoods improved by managing the local resources, local environment, in a sustainable manner.
Bringing back the bees means bringing back the forest, at the same time creating sustainable livelihood for people.
The cooperative of farmers were doing this, but around that have formed a cooperative of interest that including the local government, that includes a corporation that's funding a building right now that's packaging and putting them in jars under sanitary conditions and marketing them. So it's gone from individual farmers who have done this to a successful economic cottage industry that's being picked up at a corporate level, and the objective is to spread it throughout the Amazon.